Good morning. All right, let's get going. Looks like another slow day. Let's see what we have here in pre-market. Sub-dollar CHR. This is too cheap for me to look at, really. In VVE, another cheapie, trading at 30 cents. SMX potential fader. We'll see what we do on that one. Let's take a look at the news. See what kind of catalysts are moving stocks today. What do we have here? We had some news in after hours yesterday. Non-binding letter of intent with the purpose to create a framework to integrate SMX's. Okay, so we have a potential deal here. We maybe have a deal. And all we need is a hope that something will happen and the stock will go up. Very nice. So apps, let's see, let's make sure I'm not gonna take this one off the watch yet. SMX apps. Looks like mid-cap-ish stock. Digital Turbine. Up on earnings. Not super interested in that. Although we got to look at some mid-caps and see if we can come up with some good strategies for these, because there's a lot of opportunity in this space. I don't go after these yet, but we are looking into some strats to attack the mid-caps. So this one is up on earnings. Pretty nice. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, trading around $8 at the moment. So pretty big gap on earnings. See, this is a big breakout, multi-month breakout, maybe even yearly breakout. And that's the kind of thing that we would go after. Pretty clear. We could put a line on breakout level right here, 780, 775 area for the yearly breakout. And it's holding right at that level right now. So it's either going to fake out that level or it's going to have some nice follow through. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we watch this one. Building our mid-cap playbook. All right, what else do we have? BW, another mid-cap. Another one, another earnings. A lot of earnings right now. This is trading at 487. Nice multi-year breakout again. Has been on a bit of an uptrend here the past few months. So we put the breakout level on. It's holding above that nicely again. So we'll put that one on watch as well, BW. I think these have some potential to run. Unity up on earnings. Really wouldn't be surprised if Unity round trips, but it's hard to tell really how big this Unity is going to run. It is approaching a big breakout level at 50 bucks. So could get some follow through on that. It's already had a really nice run from the 20s, low 20s up to the 40s. Pretty nice moves. But what I really want to talk about today, outside of these, is KView. So KView is Tylenol, a company that makes Tylenol, and Trump has been talking about this one for a while. Let me pull up the other chart here. We have KView, and what seems to be happening a lot lately is we have Trump talking about a stock. Okay, he talks bad about a stock goes down, and then stock pumps shortly after. So we saw it with Intel. Kind of funny, but yeah. So Intel. Turn this off for a second. So Trump started bashing Intel somewhere in this area. I need to double check the timeline on that, but that's what happened. So Trump starts bashing Intel, and then drops the stock down to the 20 area, and then now it's been pumping big time because the government bought it at the dead bottom. So that's what happens. And so KView is kind of similar situation. We have this stock hasn't been around for very long, only since 2023. So there's not a ton of history on it. But what we have is some nice consolidation. It broke down with Trump's help because Trump started bashing it right around here. And since then, it has made new lows. It's taken out the lows pretty aggressively. And now we have a nice trend break and earnings. And Kimberly-Clark, we're finding out now, is now acquiring KView for $48 billion. All right, so $48 billion. That's a pretty big deal. And what's kind of interesting with this is, aside from this trend break, nice technical setup with breakout pullback right there, but we also have the valuation of this, which let me pull this up really quick. So according to this valuation, this is valued at $21 a share with this deal. So if that's the case, usually it is an acquisition. So we're kind of setting a value at $21 a share, and it's trading at 16 bucks right now. So we'll see if that follows through, but it seems to be tracking with this idea and this blueprint right here, which is just a guide, it's just a guideline. But we have the trend break, we have the news, we have the Trump thing happening. Trump bashes it, goes deeper lows, and then we have a reason for it to have gone to deeper lows. Something happened, either the government's buying it or somebody's acquiring it. In this case, Kimberly-Clark for $48 billion. Kind of a big deal. So what I'm doing is loading my swing trade in this zone right here. So I'm trying to get in the 15s, the 16s, right in that area. And we'll see if it follows through or not. Doesn't have to. But I think that there's a lot of potential for this to run up to 21 bucks at least. And then we'll see what it does from there. So there's some decent upside there. 25, 30% potential from where it's at right now. So it is just interesting that we see Trump bashing things. Stocks go down to deeper lows, and then somebody's having a deal, right? Somebody's making a deal with this, and it's just funny that it happened with Intel. It's happening now potentially with KView. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, but that's going to be the plan for KView. Here is Trump's messaging on KView. Play a minute of this. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself. Only good can happen. Nothing bad can happen. Or something like that. Anyways, that's kind of the messaging on it. Tylenol can cause autism. That's what they said. But usually, it's just news to drop the stock. Like with Intel, Trump said that the CEO is tied to China. So, you got to get rid of him. Get him out. And then next thing you know, the government's buying Intel, and they bought at the dead bottom, and now Intel's up massively. So we'll see if that's the case with KView. It seems like it could be, but we'll keep it on watch. I'm still loading in my swing, and if it drops too much, I just cut. So that's all there is to it. I think there's good potential on this trade idea. It's in the news. It's kind of a Trump play, and we'll see what happens. We've seen him work before. We'll see if this one works as well. So hopefully that one has the follow through. It is holding this dip right now. It's trying to hold a dip. It needs to find the bottom on this dip. This could pull back quite a bit, or it could just hold up here. It doesn't, it's hard to say exactly how this will play out, but at the moment, it's holding. I wouldn't expect it, or I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled back some more. It could just hold here and never come back down. Also possible. So that's why I'm kind of averaging in. I started buying over here, 650 area, 1660. So I'm going to buy some more probably today. If it drops some more, I'll buy some more lower. If it goes up, I buy some more higher. It doesn't really matter that much, as long as the play ends up eventually following through. And I don't take on a crazy amount of risk to take the trade. So best case though, I just want to get into this circle. Anywhere in there is pretty good in my opinion. And we'll see how this dip holds up. Hopefully it doesn't drop too much lower. But I could even see maybe another trend line forming potentially on this bounce. So if we get the gap, maybe some pullback, maybe we get another little trend line form, smaller trend line. and then we get the break out of that. That would be nice too. So we'll put a prediction trend line on here. Maybe something like this. I like that it reclaimed this 20 moving average as well. So it'd be nice to see it hold the 20 on the daily chart. Kind of like this. Back here we had a reclaim of the 20. We had a new low right there. Reclaim of the 20, and then it pumped pretty nicely. So that kind of action would be nice. So that seems like a reasonable idea for a swing. 30% potential in a pretty short amount of time. You know, I'm usually going for maybe 1 to 3 month swings on things like this. But I do have a target in mind as well, so if we get there sooner, then that's great. Bitcoin is looking weak. We've got pullback towards 100,000. So we kind of saw that coming. We've had this blueprint up for a while, and so far it's tracking perfectly on this blueprint. You know, just simply pulling back to 100K. It'll probably test it a couple times. But things seem to be lining up for a rally in January. So we'll see if it tracks with that. I wouldn't want to get ahead of it too much, but it's probably going to chop around some. We'll see if it holds 100K. You know, it probably needs to hold the 90s. Probably should hold the 90s. So Michael Saylor's liquidation level is 74,000. So that is the CEO of MicroStrategy, MSTR. And they have been going nuts on Bitcoin. So here's the liquidation level. We need to hold 74K. If he liquidates, it's a problem. So we really need that to hold up at 74K. I don't think it gets down there. I think we're gonna hold the 90s, and then we could set up for another rally after that. But this is a big stress test. Potential double top. You know, it is a double top. But now it needs to hold a dip. Just like it did back here. And then it could set up for another rally. And it's done this before. You know, we have a big push. Some chopping around. And then shaking out the lows a few times. Eventually pushing higher. A pretty clear trend line right there. And then a clear top out. You never really know until it's over, but double top fake out. It's a classic top out pattern. We see it in small caps all the time. So that's how this topped out back in 2021. Big double top fake out, trapping some longs right there for the dump. And then we see it again right over here. Double top fake out right there into the pullback. Now this pullback held up pretty good, but ended up pushing higher, and then we saw another double top fake out. So we just see it again and again, and now we're going to test the dip. So hopefully the 90s hold up. I got a big play plan for ball. I really want to see this pull back some more, but so far this is tracking beautifully. We'll see if we get our trend break. Still watching for that. A lot of swing ideas. Coinbase is dropping with Bitcoin a bit. All-time high breakout right there, 430. Going to be keeping an eye on that. So if this does sustain a dip, holds up, and then starts grinding back up, we might have a pretty big breakout. All right, here we go. We got a minute and a half until the bell. Time to focus up. See what we can do today. It's looking slower. Again, this whole week has been slow for small caps. GameStop bros, you know, kind of scary. I should do an update video on this because this is interesting. GameStop's breaking a trend line right here. Kind of not looking good. We'll see if it can hold that, but the forecast is looking bad. And we have Richard Newton was one of the major GameStop guys making videos about GameStop for years, every single day. He stopped doing that recently, but he showed his position on GameStop. And yeah, he's just getting kind of hammered. But he didn't have the best average, which is surprising to me. I figured he would have been in a great position, but he's got a 34.69 average. He had $700,000 in it, so he's down $250,000 right now. Fascinating stuff. All right, here we go. A lot of cheapies. Can't really do much with those, unfortunately. Israel has dropped a new type of bomb in Gaza. All right. Let's see here. All right, looked like another slow day. I think I'm just gonna wrap it up there for now. Got one trade on, small one, but we'll see how that one plays out. I'll put an update in Discord later if anything happens with this. But I think I'm gonna call it there for today. Good luck, everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Hopefully, we pick up some steam towards the end of the week.